Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Clayton Bates. He's a Shopify expert, and he says he understands the struggle of not getting any sales for business. He helps a lot of business people. So we learn about his proven strategies to grow your e-commerce business, overcome mindset blocks, and build a store that actually sells. Welcome to the show, Clayton.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to being on the podcast.
Right, Clayton. So you are a Shopify expert. What makes you a Shopify expert? Without an expert, you won't be able to sell on Shopify, Clayton?
Basically, like a Shopify expert is someone who builds websites or does stuff with Shopify. Shopify actually authenticated me as a Shopify expert in 2019. One of the main reasons they did that is because I went into their community forum and I posted nearly 1,000 times giving people free feedback about their Shopify websites. And they reached out and I had to go through a process to become a Shopify expert. So yeah, hardly anyone is a Shopify expert. There was hardly anyone in Australia that was one. So yeah, that was pretty cool that they did that. So I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So do you also have a store on Shopify, Clayton?
Yeah, so I used to have a store. So how I ended up getting into this is I used to have my own store back in 2014. I really struggled to get sales. I really struggled to build the website. I approached some people to build the website and I got quotes for 3,000-4,000 and I couldn't really afford it at the time. So I went and learned how to build my website myself. What I actually learned now that if I had to hire those people, I probably would have made $100,000 or $200,000 extra in my website. But on the flip side to that, I wouldn't be in the business I am now. So I had my website for a few years. I was a bit burnt out from doing that business. I had a really good job, but I didn't like it. And I tried to work out what do I like about my life and what do I like doing. And I was like, I really like building my website. I wonder if I can actually build websites for other people, inspire them to do stuff. And nearly 7 years later, we've built 600 websites and helped generate hundreds of millions of dollars through Shopify now. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Now, to understand it from a very common perspective, from a common person's point of view, small business point of view, especially somebody, say in India, wants to open a shop. They already have a website, any of the platform, WordPress, Wix, or any of the thing. And suddenly someone says, you should go on Shopify. Why would, what is the best case for moving on to Shopify? Are these sites not working? Will Shopify take you to some another place? Will it offer, because it is also costly? So help us understand from that perspective.
I'm very biased on Shopify. I love Shopify. I always recommend Shopify. But the way I like to think of it is if you sell products online, Shopify is the best platform. It might not be the cheapest platform, but it has lots of agencies that build Shopify. There's lots of people that can help you. There's lots of templates. There's lots of apps. Any solution or problem that you might have in e-commerce, someone's probably solved it on Shopify. So this is why I always think it is the best platform, but I understand it isn't the cheapest platform. So it really depends, sort of thing, on your situation, I guess. Yeah.
Right. But apart from the cost, even if say suppose a small business is able to afford that cost, what is it? I'm trying from that point of view so that they don't miss out on a platform like this if they can afford to. Many people know about Shopify, but many also do not. They think, they have a website, it's doing fairly okay because they have to have their own relations with people. And that is where they are already getting that business. From that point of view, where does Shopify come? Is it only about templates? Is it about, user experience, or is it much more beyond that?
Well, the way I look at it is it doesn't really matter what platform you're on. If you don't have a website that's built correctly, you're not going to make any sales anyway. So whichever platform you're on, you have to really focus on 5 key areas. Like there's hundreds of little things, but if you can nail these 5 things, like your homepage, it flows the page. There's a few different things you can do on your homepage. Your product page has all the information about product, builds trust, benefits. The site navigation is very easy to use. The checkout has your logo and your colors. It looks branded, and then the website is mobile friendly. They're like the main things. So if you're on WordPress or Shopify or anything, and you don't really get those 5 areas right, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. So you have to really get those things right. But really, the difference is like the templates and the checkouts are built for e-commerce on Shopify. Like everything is built for e-commerce on Shopify. So yeah, so hopefully that sort of answers it. Yeah.
Of course, of course. So in terms of, you see, people who think that, I'm not getting enough sales, say on a site which is on Wix or a
Yeah.
WordPress, even they have that e-commerce capabilities.
Yeah.
But if someone suggests that you should move to Shopify and you will get better sales, will that work? Or sales is a totally different thing, and it doesn't matter whether which platform you are actually building your website on?
Well, sort of similar to the last one. Like if you have really bad images, if your website doesn't flow, it's hard to use, it doesn't really matter what platform you're on, it's not going to work basically. So I think you can build websites on any of those platforms, but what I think is like it's got the best solutions for everything. Like any sort of shipping issues you have, Shopify solved. There's lots of developers. There's like 8,000 plugins that you can use for Shopify that are all focused mostly around e-commerce. So if you have e-commerce, I'd move over. But yeah, I just think it's so much easier. The other thing too, if you have a low budget, there's lots of tutorials on YouTube about Shopify to teach you how to do it. Yeah, I haven't really used the other platforms. I'm very biased on Shopify, but really it comes down to like there's 3 main areas really. So the first one is the type of traffic that goes to your website. If it's the wrong traffic, doesn't matter what platform you're on, you're not going to make any sales. The next one is like all the images and stuff. If you have really nice images that suit your brand and stuff like that, it's going to really help as well. And then the third one is just how the website functions, how it flows and stuff. So if you sort of don't get those 3 things right, it don't really matter what platform you're on. Yeah, so if you're not getting sales on Wix, for example, you probably have all those issues anyway. So moving over to Shopify, even if you had the same website, you're probably going to have those same issues again, if that makes sense. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Now, since you are a Shopify expert, Clayton, and many people have moved on to Shopify from wherever they are, still they are not getting sales. Whatever you talked about, some reason, but is it that they are not optimizing, or the platform itself, or the tools that are available for them? What would you like to tell them? Is it that they are not utilizing the tools that are available, and that they are just using it just like any other platform from there, from where they migrated to?
Probably a combination of all those things. Yeah, if you move over and you don't optimize your site, if you don't improve your images, things like that, you're just going to keep not getting sales. Like a lot of people when they first start out, they'll be like, oh, it's my website, I'm not getting any sales or anything. But I always think like the main thing you want to do is like if you have no sales, you want to try to get your first sale. Do whatever you take to get one sale instead of thinking about like 10,000 sales. Do whatever it takes to get someone there that will buy something, and just tweak things as you go, sort of thing. But yeah, it always comes down to those things. Like one platform is not going to solve your problem. Like your problem is those things, like normally the traffic, the site, and just the images and things like that.
Absolutely. So in terms of, we have a query from one of our, one of our viewers is that what kind of Shopify apps or tools do you recommend to boost sales?
Yeah, so there's a couple of good ones. So this app would probably really help with the questions you've been asking. So there's one app called Hotjar. I think it's about $5 a month. And what it does, it actually does heat mapping software on your website. So you can actually see where people click and what they do on your website, things like that. So that can, if you actually watch it and see where people are clicking on your website, you can get like an understanding of what's going wrong or what's working, things like that. So for example, if the second section block on your homepage, no one clicks on it, you probably want to remove it. If no one's stopping to watch it, you want to remove it, sort of thing. So that's a really good one. The next one, there's three good ones that I normally recommend. The next one is Search and Discovery. It's a free app that Shopify made. What Search and Discovery does is it makes better filtering for your collection page. So if you have a lot of products, filters are really important on collection page. And then it has an option to do an upsell on your product page. So if you don't want to pay for like a good upsell feature, it's really good to try it out as a free one, because if you increase the average order value, that's going to really help as well. And then the third one is you want to have a review app on your website. I normally always recommend using a paid review app. I like Luke's Reviews. It starts at $13 USD a month. What that does, it automatically emails the customer after X amount of days. They can leave a photo review, a video review, things like that. If you think about this, if someone lands on your product page, there's a big difference from 0 reviews and 100. So if you can get like build a lot of reviews, like that app will work really well. Yeah, really important to try to build reviews. Like when we do this on our clients' websites, there's a big difference when someone lands and there's 3,000 product reviews over 0. Like it builds so much more trust. The conversion goes up. So I always recommend them: Hotjar, Search and Discovery, and Luke's Reviews. Yeah, hopefully that helps.
Absolutely. In terms of, challenges or expectations when someone shifts to Shopify, what challenges can they expect, or what expectations should they move on to that platform? That it's a platform and it's not a marketplace, or is there some benefit of almost a marketplace there on Shopify?
No, it's not really a marketplace, but the one thing that maybe people would not realize is, like, no matter what template you use to build a website, you will never have every option you need to customize it and stuff. You'll always have to like use some sort of plugin or hire a developer to write code or something. Even if you buy the absolute best theme template on the market, you spend $400-500, it will not be able to do everything you want. You'll always have to. So I think sometimes when people go into it, they think, oh, this template should be able to do everything, but it just doesn't work that way, if that makes sense. It has good features. It's a good foundation, but you always need to build on it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And in terms of template, even as you said, even if you get the best template, there will be something that you will need to get from outside. So how do you deal with that? If suppose, say, in 3 months time, if you think that I need to move on to another template, then again you have to pay for that new template, and still something will be left. Is there a way for people who do not want to spend so much of money on these templates, which you need to buy extra apart from the Shopify monthly fees or yearly fees?
Yeah, do lots of research. So one of the things that I think this is one of the key things that we do when we actually build a website for someone, is we do a lot of research in what theme template will be the best for the client, what apps will be the best for the client, stuff like that. So what happens a lot of the times, especially when people are new, is they might use the Dawn theme, which is free in Shopify. They'll build up their website. Dawn theme's very basic and good for beginners, sort of thing. It can't really get you all the way there, sort of thing, but they might build their website on Dawn, right? then they might be like, oh, this premium theme for $300 is really good. I'm gonna do that. And then they run into a lot of roadblocks because it doesn't have certain options and things, right? So what we normally do is the more research you do, go and look at your competitors and see what they're doing, right? You can use tools like Koala Inspect, which tells you like what template they're using, what apps they're using, stuff like that. You can use, I think, what fonts they use. Now, would you ever copy someone? No, but you get some inspiration. So if you find like 20 websites and you're like, I really like these three, and 2 of them are using Prestige theme, for example, then most likely Prestige theme is going to be the theme that's going to be good for you. A lot of people don't do research. A lot of people will just be like, oh, this looks okay. And then that's, a year later, they've bought 5 templates or something, if that makes sense.
Right. So which is a, best time or to think about a new template or, or something else? Is there a time frame that one should at least stick to one template for some time?
Maybe if you're just a beginner, like Dawn theme, a free template is good. It depends on your budget, right? But if you're making like over 1,000 or 2,000 a month, it sometimes doesn't make sense to use Dawn. So for example, like the only time we use Dawn is if someone's making over $1 million a year and we'll custom build the whole website sort of thing. So that's another thing too. Some people might custom build the whole website, which we do sometimes. But I think like if you've built your website, every at least 1 year, you should be thinking about, is there a better thing we can do? Is there some way we can improve? Can we improve our current website? Because just to give you an idea, this might sound a bit crazy, but one of our clients, they never updated their website for 10 years. We rebuilt the website. They made an extra $25,000 in 1 week. So like, even if you pay someone and a year later, you're like, oh, I paid this person all this money a year ago, right? You literally could be losing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars by not upgrading your website. So like, even in the past, like people have made $1 million extra from upgrading their website and rebuilding their website. So don't get stuck in like, oh, I paid the money 6 months ago or a year ago or whatever. Just maybe set a reminder every 3 months, 6 months, maybe just to look into certain things and maybe improve it. Because if you get stuck in, I've spent the money before, you literally could lose millions of dollars. So
absolutely. So if someone migrates from one place to Shopify, is there a time period for SEO and everything to kick in from that place to another, or it's very automatic, or only minimal amount of time is required to get into the old, at least back to the old position?
Well, one of the main things a lot of people don't do. So if you're making a lot of money with SEO, right, you can absolutely tank like your whole SEO by moving to Shopify. The main reason is because you haven't done everything that you need to do. So, for example, every single link on your website will be different when you move over to Shopify. So the first thing you need to do is do a link redirect from the old link to the new link. And a lot of people will be like, oh, I'll build your website and we'll move to Shopify, but then they don't do all the link redirects. So when people are like, they find you on Google and they click through, it goes to 404 page. So that's like the first most important thing, right? And then you want to try to bring over all the meta fields, the meta descriptions, everything similar, because you're still going to rank there. It's just when it goes to Shopify, it needs to be a link redirect to the new link. That's like the main thing that like so many people don't do. Like, yeah, I've seen horror stories of people losing hundreds of thousands of dollars because of that. So yeah, very important.
Okay, and that is someone, a developer will have to, you need to talk to a developer about this redirecting of all the links to the new website. Otherwise, you will lose all the customers who are coming onto the old links.
Yeah, you can do it yourself, but if you're making any type of good money, I'd hire a developer. You can also use software like Lit extensions, where basically they'll migrate all your customers, your emails, all your orders over to Shopify. Like I have a really good relationship with them if anyone wants to contact me. But basically, that's what you want to do. You want to do all the link redirects. You want to bring all your data over. If you've only got like 2 sales, then probably just bring it over yourself. But if you're making any type of sales, like I'll definitely hire someone. I wouldn't do it myself. Yeah. The
Right.
risk is too high.
Absolutely. In terms of partnerships, does Shopify has special partners with either payment platforms or Google or anyone else, which will bring extra benefit that one will not get on building website on any other platforms?
They have Shopify Payments, which is partnered with Stripe. Most things are on other platforms as well, but yeah, it depends what country you're in as well. So sometimes they have partnerships with like shipping carriers in different countries and stuff. So for example, like in Australia, they have a deal with Sendle for Australia. Yeah, they've got lots of little partnerships, but a lot of people, I guess I don't know if you'd call it a partner, but a lot of companies have built things for Shopify. So like the plugins, there's like 8,000 or something. So I think they encourage people to build things that improve Shopify. And sometimes if someone builds something really good, they end up implementing it back into Shopify. So yeah.
Absolutely, Clayton. So a lot of people, who are doing business sometimes want to get into business. They may think that all I have to do is to open a store anywhere, especially Shopify, and then sales will start happening. Success in e-commerce will come so easily. How would you like to tell, a lot of people who are a bit impatient about mindset, about resilience, and sticking to what they are doing in terms of e-commerce and wait for the sales to actually kick in and not just, some sort of, beginner's luck should not be considered as it will happen every day.
It's not going to happen overnight. In the 7 years I've been doing this, only one or two people have been overnight successes on Shopify, and the only reason they made a lot of money straight away is because they built a brand for years. So imagine like building a brand for like 5 years, then you open a business, you're going to make money, right? But if you're just starting out, it's normally going to take probably 10 times longer than you even think it will. It's not going to happen overnight. It's like the analogy, like what is it, like you're pushing up like a snowball up a mountain, and it's like really hard, and then you push it over the mountain, and then it gets bigger as it goes down. So I always think like if you're starting out, your number one goal is to get one sale. Don't think about 10,000 sales. Don't think about making millions of dollars. Just think about, I need to get one sale. And then once you get one sale, be like, all right, I need to get 5 sales. Get 5, now I've got to get 10. Now I've got to get 100. Because you need to get momentum. And once you start to build momentum, that's when you can start building it. Like some of our clients, like they started out hardly any sales for the first few months, and now they're like multi-million-dollar companies. And they ran into so many roadblocks, but they just didn't give up. They kept believing in themselves. They believed in their product. And even myself, like I'll share this, like when I started my agency, I nearly went bankrupt. Like I'm within a week of going bankrupt. The first year I only made like $8,000 or something. And then the next year I made like 100,000 and so on. And like now we've helped generate hundreds of millions of dollars, and I come within a week of going bankrupt. And if I didn't believe in myself, I probably would have went bankrupt, lost everything, be working for someone else. Like you just have to believe in yourself and just go for it. But I always think, get that first sale, get the momentum, keep the ball rolling. Like you just need momentum, sort of thing.
Absolutely. Now, you are a Shopify expert, so obviously, as you said, you will obviously be biased towards them. But do you think Shopify is giving an impression that it is the go-to market leader, that it is the place to go? It's almost captured that imagination and the market in terms of opening up an e-commerce website, and in that process others are overlooking other options that are also available. Do you think Shopify is the only place in the world to be on and get the best out of e-commerce business?
There's probably other platforms you can use. There is other platforms, but it's hard for me to say because I love Shopify so much, and I've only used Shopify. I only ever will use Shopify. So I'm like one of the worst people to ever ask that question because, like, I don't know, like I've made quite a lot of money from Shopify. Like I basically bought my house because of Shopify. They've supported me and my family for 10 years. So how could I go against Shopify? There is other, you know what I mean?
I know. I have
Yeah.
yet to build my house from Shopify. I don't have a store, but yes, I understand your dilemma. But my job is to understand it from my listeners' point of view. One thing I
Yeah.
want to understand is that you see this whole e-commerce thing panning out. How does it look like to be? And as a Shopify expert, also, how do you differentiate yourself from other expert? Why I ask this is that as business owners, how do you continue to differentiate? Is Shopify only for, say, certain kind of businesses, but for digital creators and all, other platforms are good, like Gumroad and so many other places are there? How does one determine whether my business is fit for Shopify? And maybe clothing business wise or some other business wise, as a small business owner, what would you like to tell them? How do they decide whether Shopify is the best for them?
Well, if you sell a product, go to Shopify. If you do a service, it's going to be hard to build a website sometimes on Shopify. Yeah, well, look at your competitors and see what they're doing. Like, if someone has a really cool website that you like and it's on Wix, well, it might be worth trying Wix. But most of the time, a lot of successful e-commerce businesses are on Shopify. Like, so I don't know what the percentage is, but yeah, just go look at your competitors and see what they're doing and try to get inspiration and stuff. But yeah, I always think if you sell a product, you should be on Shopify. But like I said, I'm really biased against it, sort of thing. So
Right, right. One last question is that, and this is not something to put you that will put you in dilemma. One is that whichever platform one uses, especially businesses who have got lots of products, also services, also, but business-wise, you put a lot of products onto whichever platform your website is on. To de-risk themselves, anything can happen at any point in time. You may want to move to another website or change anything. What are the things that they should do to de-risk themselves in terms of that makes their life easy and in quick time when they want to move from one place to another? Because as you said, the redirect links were there, images are there, videos are there, if you have blogs are there. How do you then manage all these things so that it doesn't come at the end of the day when you are actually doing it, but rather you are prepared for it? How does one always be prepared for such a thing like
go to an agency and like a couple of different agencies and get their ideas and stuff. Like if you go to agencies and tell them your problem, they're going to probably come back to you with like, hey, this is what we recommend and things like that. Yeah, go to an agency that's done lots of stuff like that and just see what they say. Like a lot of the times, like when someone comes to us, we'll go into the back end of their website, we'll do research, and we'll be like, hey, this is a plan, this is what we think will be good for you. They can take the plan if they want and do it themselves. Like we try to just work out what the best thing is. It's like you just got to be careful. Like imagine you're making like $100,000 a month through SEO, and then you migrate to Shopify, and then you go from 100,000 to 1,000 just because they tanked your whole SEO. So it's like really important. The bigger you are, the more important it is just to speak to someone or speak to a few people, and they'll give you some ideas. And if you want to work with them, you do. If you want to do it yourself, do it yourself. yeah, so that's how I sort of look at it, sort of thing.
Absolutely. There's so much to learn about all this from you, Clayton, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you, learn more from you, about you, and can also become your client. What is the best way for them to do so?
You can just go to inspiresmallbusiness.com. If you want a free video review of your website, I'll do that and just give you tips and suggestions. And then I have a YouTube channel where I have lots of tutorials. Clayton Bates, Shopify expert. I think there's like 100 videos there, which will teach you how to do whatever. So all the basics and stuff are there. So yeah, hopefully everyone got some value out of this and things like that. So yeah, I really appreciate you having me on the podcast as well.
You're welcome. You're welcome. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
All right, thank you.